a member of the security team here at the JoyNews, and also Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin, who are both on the ground for us. I want to connect with Adib Sani. He's a security analyst. Let's try and get his perspective of what has happened so far. Adib, I'm not sure if you have seen this particular video. I just want to play it back to you and take your thought on it. The moment that the military arrived in, of course, in the company of the police. Take a look. And Adib, I'll take your initial thoughts on what you've just seen.
Well, I saw the video earlier, and where you have just paused is the most disturbing bit of it. You see, usually it is the police that is supposed to control crowds. They only call in on the military if they are overwhelmed. Even if the military arrives, I would expect that they use rubber-coated bullets rather than live ammunition. So when I first saw the video, I thought, oh, obviously, this cannot be live ammunition. But the fact that people are dying points to a very disturbing truth, that they were using live ammunition. And you see, there are two ways of firing warning shots to disperse crowd, okay? It's either you fire into the air, and I'm going to demonstrate using my hands, okay? You fire into the air, and the angle is very important, okay? So if you fire this way, automatically the bullet goes up, and by the time it returns, it is not, lethal, okay? But if you fire this way over the heads of people, what you are doing is targeting innocent people who have actually nothing to do with what is going on there, okay? Unfortunately, that is exactly what we see. But to even, crown it all, you see the military officer on his knees pointing directly at the people and firing, okay? I would have thought that, fine, if you don't want to fire into the air, then you fire into the ground. Okay, so when you create that fear, so people might, start running away. But for the military to point their guns at the people is something I find so shocking and has the potential of pushing the area to the brink. It has the potential of getting a lot more of the people in that area agitated. And that would present to us a much more cataclysmic situation than we fathom. There's a skill and there's an operational procedure to follow in crowd control. We have different layers, we have different tools, we have different approaches, depending on the situation and the kind of crowd you're dealing with. But it is quite obvious from what we see that there was some show of bravado of some sort, unfortunately, on this occasion by the military, which I thought should know better. And that has resulted in the death of, I understand, 1 or 2 persons. It is quite unfortunate. And I think that the issue could have been managed better.
Are as a watcher of the space from the Ghana Armed Forces. I mean, but let's look again at the video. We see a police vehicle. Actually, the vehicle carrying the military men comes first, and then there's a police vehicle that follows, and then of course there's what looks like a water cannon that also comes in as well. Again, the protocol would have been that you would have used the water cannon first. Help my ignorance, is it?
Absolutely. There are different approaches. Okay, if this fails, then you resort to the next. Okay, under normal circumstance, it is the police that is supposed to lead it. But like I indicated at first, when they are overwhelmed, then they invite the military in. But it looks more like the police by default lose control of the situation. So you have rather the military lead it. So I would have thought that they use the water cannon. If it doesn't work, they perhaps use the rubber-coated bullets. If it doesn't work, then they have every reason to believe that a life or danger or safety of the officers is at stake. Then they'll be forced to use force or use perhaps live bullets, which should be the last resort. But it's quite obvious from the video that it was actually the first resort. And that is what I can't seem to wrap my mind around. And I find very unfortunate. However, we are in Ghana. There seems to be a culture of impunity. There's no accountability. It has happened in the past, even during the elections. I know a young man who was shot at somewhere around Mataipo. He was admitted at a rich hospital. Later, he died. We don't know what has become of the case.
Yeah.
You know, invariably, a lot more officers would begin to feel that, okay, well, if we also use force and, you know, resort to showmanship bravado, there's absolutely no way we'll be held to account.
And that's where I wanted to come to. That's where I wanted to come to with this conversation before we end it. That you mentioned that you would have used rubber bullets. I mean, rubber bullets could equally be lethal, I must say. But then again, you look at the sequence of events, certain things that have happened right from the days of lockdown, where a military personnel, you know, shot somebody. And then you also look at the situation in Teshiman South, where people have complained about, we're told that it's being investigated. People have put all of these together, and they're saying that because eventually we don't hear anything from the Ghana Armed Forces about the end of the investigation, it looks like it's breeding more of the impunity. As a security analyst, from your perspective, what will be your expectation from the Ghana Armed Forces, and indeed from the police, which would have been in charge of this particular operation, first of all, before they brought in the military?
Well, I would expect that. I didn't listen to all of, I couldn't hear all of your questions, but it has to do with accountability and what the way forward is going into the future, right?
You're more like your expectation of how they should end, given the others that have happened and how people feel there haven't been enough, or there haven't been closure to those cases involving, you know, people being shot at by either the military or the police.
Well, we have to nip it about the culture of impunity. Accountability is key. And like I always say, it is in the best interest of the security services to ensure accountability, because once you have public rejection, they automatically become uncooperative, and it will be very difficult for you to fulfill your mandate. I would expect that investigation is conducted into it, but it shouldn't just be the preserve of the military or the police. I think it should be multidisciplinary in nature, including perhaps representatives from the ombudsman and rights organizations, people with skills, special skills in different areas. When we bring them together, whatever the outcome would be, whether it is to hold someone accountable or whether it is to vindicate someone, the families should have closure. Unfortunately, the thing is, anytime something like this happens, you have the military doing their internal investigation. In the end, you don't even know what becomes of it, because you and I are not privy to the report, and it keeps happening over and over again, and that is what is creating that disenchantment and mistrust between the civilians and members of the security agencies. I think that this issue could have been managed. I mean, if it were really managed better, it wouldn't have gotten to where it is. Because we saw this coming, for crying out loud. You saw the releases being flown all over the place on social media. Some were threatening in nature, and I would have expected that the Security Council in that area would take proactive measures. If they have to arrest some people, arrest them, reassure the family members, or perhaps identifiable groups or persons in that area, and it could have been better managed. Unfortunately, we didn't see that happening, and we are rather pushing more and more.
Let me just indicate also, to be fair to the police, that this morning we heard from the Ashanti Region Police, which said that they've made an arrest of 2 people in connection with the death of Kaka, the genesis of this entire case. But Adib, I would like to say a very big thanks to you for your time and for your analysis there. Adib Sani is a security analyst.